Are you guys ready for the August temperature blanket sampler blanket crochet stitch of the month? The August crochet stitch of the month is going to be the basket stitch. Now, not to be confused with the basket weave stitch, they're actually quite different. In fact, that's why I chose to incorporate this stitch into the project, is so that way you could see the intriguing challenge, different nature of this particular stitch and how much fun it can be. And my hope is that after you have this exposure to the basket stitch, you might incorporate it in a future project. Special note, after July's honeycomb stitch, our blanket now has a very distinct right side and wrong side to the project. The reason why it's important to note is because the basket stitch that we're going to be doing in the month of August also has a very distinct right side and wrong side to the pattern. So before diving right in, you need to make sure that the row that you are going to be working on is worked on the right side of the project. So when you're working this row, you are looking at the honeycomb or bobble stitches on your blanket. If you're not, then we're going to want to make a slight little adjustment, which I will talk about when I'm actually diving into the tutorial, okay? If you're somebody who is like, Tiffany, just give me the pattern, I just want to dive right into this. Boom, August's calendar stitch card is already waiting for you on my website, crochetwithtiffany.com, underneath the crochet along tab. I will have a link to it in the description section below, so don't worry about having to type all that out. Go ahead and print this out. It is free, and circle all your days so you can stay on track and you're good to go. For the rest of you who would like to hang out a little bit longer and maybe see the demonstration of the basket stitch, let me back up just slightly and go over the status of my temperature blankets thus far. Ending July, beginning month 8, August, my temperature blanket that I've been working up with a size 4 weight yarn right now measures in at a total of 41 inches long. Now I'm like, boy, that's definitely going to get that length even with all these adjustments that we're doing. We're going to have no problem with length here, so just keep on trucking, keep on doing what we're doing with this every other day making a row thing. I think we're going to be okay. We'll be fine. However, my temperature blanket that I'm making using the size 5 weight yarn right now, ending July, it measures in at 30 inches. And I'm like, whew, that's a little short. That's a little low. Now, okay, we still have 5 months to go. We would be fine. I mean, my prediction is that this blanket will hit 6 feet, but I think with the month of August, we have a little bit of wiggle room where we can maybe make a few additional rows with the size 5 weight blanket. And I'll go into that at the end of the video when I'm talking about rows and making sure you're staying on track. Now, normally with this particular project, I would be letting my crochet club members pick the crochet stitch of the month and let them be more involved in the project. However, we are down to the last 5 months of the year. Oh my gosh, guys. So we're kind of running out of the mystery here when I have them voting, and to keep the mystery alive, to keep people intrigued with what crochet stitch is she going to pick for this month, I'm just going to be picking the last 5 months, introducing those into the project, so that way I can keep people coming back for the curiosity of what stitch is going to be this month. I got to keep you in somehow. Now, like I said, the basket stitch that we're doing for the month of August definitely has a right side and wrong side to the project. So before we even get started with the project, look at how you're ending the month of July. If you're ending the month of July and the first row that you need to make for the month of August, you're looking at the project about to join and you're looking at the right side of the work, you're seeing all those glorious, beautiful bobble stitches, you're good. You are capable of diving right into this 4-row repeat, no problem. However, if you end the month of July and your first row of your project for August, you are looking at the wrong side of the work, meaning you're looking at flat, no bobbles. We don't want this. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and just work 1 row of single crochet in the back loop only of every stitch all the way across. It doesn't count for a day. It's literally just kind of a setting up point, so that way we can jump right into the 4-row repeat where we want to, so the pattern will show up on the side we want it to show up on. Are you ready to dive in? All right, let's get started. Row 1 of our basket stitch. All we are doing is attaching the yarn to the project. So slip stitch in that first stitch space, chain 1. We're going to make a single crochet stitch in the back loop only of every stitch all the way across this row. That's it. That's row 1. So my count at the end of the rows, I've been kind of avoiding this because so many people at this point kind of have their own count going on, but my size 4 weight yarn blanket here, I have 192 stitches in every row. If you have 191 stitches, that's fine, keep it, okay? My size 5 weight blanket over here, I have a total of 131 stitches in every row. I don't know what happened. The pattern worked. I got everything to work the way I wanted to. How the count became so different, I don't know. But I'm adjusting things, giving you more information for those of you who may have the same thing going on. So if you have 132 stitches in every row for the size 5 weight blanket, keep it. I'm gonna show you or tell you how to make adjustments. Go ahead and finish row 1 and I'll meet you at the end to show you what to do different for row 2. At the end of row 1, if you are keeping the same color moving into row 2, depending on how your temperatures look for the month, all you're going to do is chain 1, turn your work, and be ready to go. If you do need to change colors for your temperature to account for that color change, then you're going to tie off your work, grab the new color, slip stitch into the first stitch space of the row, chain 1, and now we're ready to go. For row 2, we're going to single crochet in the back loop only of the first 2 stitches. Next we're going to do, it's like a pike stitch. We're going to take our crochet hook. We're going to insert it into the left behind loop from row 1, yarn over, pull that loop through and up so it's level with row 2. Then yarn over and pull through both loops on your crochet hook. I know, different, right? The repeat pattern for row 2 is single crochet in the back loop only of the next 3 stitches, and then do this pike stitch thing where you're inserting your crochet hook, yarning over, pulling level with row 2, then yarning over and pulling through both loops on your crochet hook. Repeat this pattern all the way across for row 2, and I'll meet you at the end of row 2 to show you how it'll look when you end it. At the end of row 2, depending on your stitch count that you're working with, you're either going to end with that pike stitch thing and then 1 single crochet back loop only, or you're going to end with 4 single crochet back loop only. We do not want to leave the last stitch of the work with a pike stitch. We want to just end it with a single crochet back loop only to help us out with keeping the sides of our work straight. Great, moving on to row 3. If you're keeping with the same color, you will just chain 1, turn your work. If you're changing colors, tie off, grab new color, slip stitch into the first stitch space, chain 1, and we are good to go. For row 3, all we are doing is making a single crochet in the back loop only of every stitch all the way across. That's it. Now this is a great opportunity, row 2 and row 3, to count your stitches. I have been contacted by many people who stopped counting their stitches. They got comfortable and they just stopped, and then now they are far into the project and noticing this pretty big slant in the sides of their work, and they're too invested in the project to break it down, but it's all a matter of counting your stitches. You don't have to do it every row. Just periodically to make sure you're staying on track. And row 1 and row 3 repeats for the month of August is going to be a great opportunity to do that. So please, please, please remember to periodically count how many stitches you have in each row. At the end of row 3, all we are doing is either chaining 1 and turning our work or attaching the new color yarn like we have already in the last 3 rows. For row 4, the repeat pattern is going to be, we're going to begin with a single crochet in the back loop only of the first 4 stitches. That way we're offsetting the pattern a little bit. Make that pike stitch where you're going to insert your crochet hook in the left behind loop of the stitch in row 3. So you're just going 1 row down. You're not going further than that. The repeat pattern is just to make one single crochet stitch in the back loop only of the next 3 stitch spaces, and then that pike stitch. Repeat all the way across, and I will meet you at the end of row 4 to give you an idea of what the end of row 4 will look like. All right, at the end of row 4, you will either end with a single crochet in the back loop only of the last 3 stitches, or you'll end with a pike stitch and 1 single crochet back loop only in that last stitch, depending on your count and how many stitches you have in your row. We will be repeating row 1 through row 4 over and over for the month of August, but remember that every day, if you're working with the size 4 weight yarn, every day we are just making 1 row per day. If it'll help you out, then insert or write on your calendar row 1, row 2, row 3, row 4, row 1, row 2, row 3, row 4, just to make sure that you stay on track and don't overdo it. We definitely do not want to add any extra rows to the size 4 weight blanket we're making because, again, we're entering into August at 41 inches. We are way on track to have a good length blanket. However, remember how I said in the beginning of the video that we could add a couple extra rows to the size 5 weight blanket that we're making? The size 5 weight temperature blanket, or the temperature blanket I'm making with the size 5 weight yarn, it's only 30 inches long at this point. So you have 2 things that you can do. Either 1, go ahead and continue working this pattern like we have every month leading up to this point, where we are just making 2 rows per week. So week 1 would be row 1, row 2, and then week 2 would be row 3, row 4. If you wanted to do that, again, write it down. It really will help you. But because we do have the ability to, we could add some length to this blanket. It would be totally fine if you worked row 1, 2, 3, and 4 each week. Give ourselves a little extra length. So if that is something you would like to do with the temperature blanket using the size 5 weight yarn, go for it. It's not going to hurt anything, and it could help us to add a little extra length to that blanket. If you do find yourself having any questions or wanting to be more a part of a community, I definitely encourage you to check out my Crochet Club membership on my website, crochetwithtiffany.com, where we have a whole chat room forum dedicated to this temperature blanket where people can ask questions, share the progress of their work. There's so many beautiful colors that are showing up, and I'm having so much fun looking and taking a peek at what other people are creating. Plus, I go live on Zoom with my group once, sometimes twice a week. So you have an opportunity to talk to me in person and ask me questions, or just hang out and be a part of the group. We're also going to start diving into more fun activities like games and contests, and we're gonna have a lot of fun over there. So if you haven't checked it out yet, check out the 10-day free trial, see if it's for you. And if anything, it's just $5.99 a month for everything that I offer, and I really hope that you enjoy it. So give it a peek. Thank you so much for watching this video, guys. I hope that you enjoy this basket stitch, and I will see you in 1 month to show you the next stitch of the month for the month of September. I hope you have a lot of fun, and I'll see you soon. Happy crocheting, guys. Bye.